Oh, I'm so happy to have this thing back. This was all I missed was this guy right here. I missed you too, but I did miss my document camera. Using my phone was not very fun. Okay, so today we're going to talk about point slope form. On Tuesday, you found, I think it was Tuesday, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. You found the Wednesday, actually, you did this. Sorry, Tuesday, you took a quiz. Wednesday, you found the slope between 2 points, or you found the slope of a line, like given the actual line. Yesterday, you took equations and like transformed them into slope intercept form, or you looked at a graph and figured out what the slope intercept form was. Today, we're going to talk about another form of an equation, and this is all leading into what we're doing on Monday. So I know that it seems kind of silly. Like we've been doing parallel lines, we've done triangles, and now we're on to equations of lines. Like where is this all going? I promise on Monday it will all maybe make sense why we're doing this. But you need to know how to write an equation of a line in point slope form. You do have a quiz next Friday, and if you don't know how to write a line in point slope form, you're not going to do very well. Because you're going to have to write lines of parallel lines, write equations, of lines that are parallel, or write equations of lines that are perpendicular. So point slope form tells you exactly what you need in order to write an equation. You need a point and you need the slope. The point we are always going to label, I guess, as x1, y1. That's going to be the point that you are using. We're going to get to a spot in your notes where there's going to be multiple points. You just have to pick a point. I don't care what point you use. If they give you just one, use that one. If they give you two, pick your favorite point. I don't care which one it is. But you need a point, and you need the slope. And what letter do we use for slope? M. There we go. In unison. There we go. So once you know your point, and once you know your slope, you can write your equation in point slope form. And then for funsies, I'm going to use different colors to really show you where things get plugged in. So your point slope form is y minus your y1, so that comes from your point, equals, switch colors, m, which comes from your slope, parentheses, x minus, and then x1. And the x1 comes from your point as well. So this is the point slope form of an equation. The y and the x that are just y and x, they stay y and x. It's kind of like when we wrote equations in y equals mx plus b. The y and the x just stay y and x. You are only plugging in for m, y1, and x1. If you know your slope, your m, and if you know your point, x1, y1, you can just shove those numbers in there. So we're going to walk through a couple of examples. This example one right here, you're going to hope and pray for problems like these because they're the easiest. But then you're also going to get some that are a little bit tougher, but they're not too bad. And you have a short little assignment today, which is kind of nice. Nice little Friday treat for you. So example one, they want you to write an equation in point slope form. It says of a line, I don't even know what this is a bad sentence. A line with slope of 1/2. So your m, I'm going to keep using the same colors that I used before. M is 1/2 because that's what our slope is. It passes through the point 3, -2. So your point is 3, -2. So for your point, though, we have to make sure we know which one is x1 and which one is y1. Is 3x or y? X. It always goes x first. It's x1. And then your -2 is y1. And it says, we're going to write it says, what form can you use? We're going to write these in point slope form. We're never going to use any other form to write actual equations in given all this information. We're just going to use point slope because it's the easiest. So now, if I'm going to go back up here, I'm going to plug in m, x1, y1 into my equation. So we have y minus y1 is -2 equals m is 1/2. So all I'm doing is I'm taking these numbers and I'm shoving them, or not shoving, but substitution, or substituting is the technical math term. Substituting them in for those variables. So 1/2 parentheses x minus, and then x1 is 3. And I would say you're done, except there's one little thing that's going to bother me. My type A personality, I can't sit and look at this anymore. What do you think's bothering me? How would you simplify? What, you're not going to have to distribute or anything, so no distributing. But what's the one thing that might be, where's my English people at? Do you see the double negative? Yeah. Oh, is it bothering you too? Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, not just me. So I have to get rid of the double negative. And in English and in math, it's the only time we really cross over a little. Well, we cross over a little, but you had to read this. Double negatives result in a positive. So minus and a minus turn this into a positive 2 equals 1/2 x minus 3. You don't realize how much like type A-ish personality you are in math until you see two negatives next to each other. That would be the correct answer. So usually people are like, well, can I leave it as minus a negative? No, don't leave it. You can't. I mean, for me, please don't leave it as minus a negative. If you go to type these into Go Formative and you put minus a negative, it's going to mark you wrong, mainly because I made it and I can't handle it with minus a negative. So that would be it. That's all you're doing today, writing these equations. Any questions there? All right, flip the page. I'm going to show you one's a little bit more difficult. So we're going to do B together. You're going to try it on your own. So B, again, we are writing the equation of our line in that point slope form that was on the previous page. I'll write it up above here so that we have it to reference to y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Hopefully my color coordination there helps a little bit. So we need to make sure we know what is m, what is our x1, and what is our y1. It's all you need in order to be able to plug into this formula or this equation. So for B here, it says, what is the equation of the line that passes through -4, 1, and 2, 3? So again, we need to know what our slope is, and we need to know what our point is. Do we know what our slope is? No. Good news is we know how to find it, because you should have done that on Wednesday. Most of you did. So we're going to review that here in a second for those who didn't understand that on Wednesday. Great news. I'm going to reteach it here right now with me in the flesh. But so you don't have your slope, but do you have a point? Okay. You can pick either point. It does not matter. I know a point that I would use over the other one, but what point do you want to use? I would use the 2, 3 as well. I don't like negative. It's World Kindness Day. We're going to try to keep it positive around here. So we're going to use the 2, 3 as our x1, y1. I'm totally using that next hour too when I teach this. Keep things positive around here. Okay, so we have to figure out what the slope is. So what we do is what I kind of showed you on Wednesday's video. I don't plug into the slope formula. I don't know why. I just think it gets confusing with the subtraction and the negatives and whatever. So I stack my points. So I take -4 and 1, and then 2 and 3. And for those who didn't do Wednesday's assignment, here's a little preview of what you need to do this weekend. I stack my points, and when you figure out slope, what you're doing is figuring out what's the change, how does y change over how does x change? And thinking about that, I did have a lot of people put x's over y's, and you need to put y over x. So that was kind of a little thing that I kept noticing. So I have to figure out, how do I go from 1 to 3? I would add 2, so positive 2. So 2 goes on top for your slope, positive 2. And then you have to ask yourself, how do I get from negative 4 to positive 2? How do you get from negative 4 to a positive 2? Plus 6. That's a positive 6. So I have 2 over 6. Can't leave it like that, though. 1/3. 2/6 reduces to 1/3. Now you have your slope and you have your point, and now you just have to shove those into that formula, that equation. So it's going to be y minus y1 is 3 equals m is 1/3 parentheses x minus x1 is 2. I don't have any double negatives, so that's kind of why we wanted to pick that 2, 3. It makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about those double negatives. And that is it. You leave it just like that. So the only difference from this one is you had to find the slope. But again, we did that Wednesday. Maybe for those of you that it didn't make sense on Wednesday how we got those slopes, maybe that helps a little bit. Okay, I want you to try it on your own. Try it out. Try it out. All right, walking around. Looked pretty good. So there's going to be 2 possible answers, which is always awesome in this unit because there's 2 possibilities for point slope form. So, and I'm just going to use the same color the whole time because I think we're good now. So first thing that for either problem we recognize is that we don't know what the slope is. So we've got to figure that out. Some people used 2, -1 as their point. Some people used -3, 3 as their point. That's fine. One of them is not more correct than the other. It's up to you. We do have to figure out what the slope is, though. So I'm going to stack them. 2, -1, -3, 3. To go from -1 to 3, I go up 4. That's what goes on top with your slope. To go from 2 to -3, I go down 5. So my slope for both of these is going to be -4/5. And it doesn't matter where you put that negative sign because the whole entire fraction is negative. You could put it out front, you could put it on the top, you could put it on the bottom. You just can't put it on the top and the bottom. Give me 1 second. So then to write the equation for both of these, you're going to do y minus y1. So this one's going to be y minus -1. This one's going to be y minus 3 equals, take your m. Both of them have the same m. Parentheses, x minus, and then whatever your x1 is. So 2 on that one, minus -3 on that one. So then to simplify, whenever you have a double negative, change it to a plus. So y plus 1 equals -4/5. X minus 2 is one possible answer you could have. Or if you use the other point, you should have y minus 3 equals -4/5. X double negative plus 3. So just be careful with those double negatives. Any questions on that? Okay, your assignment is on page 22. You're going to do problems 1 through 8.